Hello, welcome to another episode of Pod-ket Monsters. I'm Jeff Grizzolrich, and joining me as always, the Professor Mirror to my Todd, Dustin Cunningham. How are you tonight, Dustin?
I'm good, Jeff. Professor Mirror is a little on the nose for a name of a character in a game about cameras, but hey, man, I'm here for it.
Obviously, Pokemon fans everywhere are all excited about new Pokemon Snap, which was released yesterday, and we here at Pod-ket Monsters are no different. So we are going to share our first impressions of new Pokemon Snap with y'all today. But first, the news.
News.
News. That's from something, but I can never remember what that's from.
Me neither.
So the first bit of news we have, new Pokemon Snap is available now worldwide, and the reviews are in. The game is currently sitting at an 80 on Metacritic and an 81 on OpenCritic. Without getting too much into our impressions, what do you think of that review score, Dustin?
I think an 8, like that area, is really good. Like it's a really good rating for this, and also like I'm in a video game like draft league thing, and I had new Pokemon Snap, and boy howdy was I happy that it actually had a good score because I was really worried about it. So,
did you have to predict what its rating was going to be, or is it just
no?
best
So
rating?
it's just if it's a 70 or higher. You get like 1 point per like number higher than 70 it is. So
Right.
I think it goes based on the OpenCritic score. So since it's an 81, it's like 11 points that I get for that.
Nice.
But I also had Returnal, and that came out the same day, and that also had really good scores. So it was like perfect that I had both of those.
Yeah, good week for Dustin in fantasy video game ratings.
Yeah. And then with the reviews as well too, there was a review on Metacritic that I really liked. I think it was EGM's, and it said, "New Pokemon Snap might be one of the most thoroughly pleasant games that's come out on the Switch, if not ever. While the core gameplay is the same as it was in 1999, everything about the 2021 game is better." And I think I agree with that so far. Like I haven't beat the game. I'm probably like 6 hours. It's been going back and replaying a lot of things, trying to get better photos, trying to do stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, like I totally agree that it's bringing so much joy to me right now. Like I'm just thoroughly enjoying it.
And we will talk more about how you are thoroughly enjoying it in a moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other news. Pokemon Secrets of the Jungle, the DVD and Blu-ray release of the movie, is coming on July 14th, 2021 in Japan. This home release comes in 3 variants: DVD, Blu-ray, and Special Edition Blu-ray. Special Edition comes with a bonus edition as well as a clear file set and a pamphlet. What the heck does that mean, Dustin?
So I just copy and pasted this off of Cerebi, so I'm wondering if I'm assuming maybe it's like a sleeve that it's referring to that's clear or something like that. I don't know, but I wanted to add this because we've talked about this in the past, especially on any of the times we've talked about like the movies or anything like that, wondering when this is going to have a release in the States.
And
so it's really cool to know that it's. So is this just for Japan?
I mean, that's what it said, releasing in Japan. So, I mean, I'm sure it's coming to the States, but
I'm assuming if it's coming out in Japan, then that would mean that it's probably going to come within the few months afterwards. I think that's typically how it goes, but
I mean, yeah, I think that's what I would expect, but there's no guarantee on that.
It's just more so it gives me a little bit more hope that maybe we're going to see something soon for this in the States, because I really want to see this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it can't come fast enough. We're in that lull in seasons on Pokemon Journeys, and if you want Pokemon animated content that you haven't seen before, this is what we're waiting for. We want the next movie.
And I would love it too if they put it in theaters over here, as I am now vaccinated and I can go to the movies. So
yeah, I mean, I would love that too, but our theaters are looking for big blockbusters to put in there right now to get people back in the theaters. I don't know if Pokemon Coco is the or Secrets of the Jungle as they're calling it.
This is not related to Pokemon, but the Demon Slayer movie that came out
that's true. That was tops in the box office
huge,
that weekend.
Yeah.
Which is
huge.
I don't know if that's indicative of how popular Demon Slayer is or indicative of how poor movies are doing in the theaters right now.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's indicative of anime fans' willingness to get COVID. I don't know.
Right? That's also true.
Okay, so in Pokemon Go news, some Network Text has announced that the Pokemon Go Community Day on May 15th will focus on Swablu. You will be able to purchase a ticket to receive special research Cotton-Winged Bird. The Community Day runs from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. local time zone, wherever you are.
I didn't see what the special move was. I didn't see anything in the list when I looked at it to see like what the move was that you could learn if you evolved it during the event or anything like that. But
and maybe Harry in the chat can help me out here. I have it in my head that they've done a Swablu Community Day before. Like, I feel like that's happened. Or maybe there was another event that just had oodles of Swablus.
oh, here we go. There's a little bit more here. So it looks like it might have actually been officially announced by Niantic. May 15th will focus on Swablu. The event will have a 25% hatch distance and has 3-hour instance. Let's see. Moonblast is the move that you can learn. So, and then Mega Altaria will then be available in Mega Raids right after the event.
Oh, that'll be fun.
So that's cool. Yeah. So they added a little bit more news to that one.
Well, good.
Just didn't have it. Yeah.
Also in Pokemon Go news, Niantic has announced Pokemon Go Fest 2021. This event will be a global event for players and will run on July 17th and July 18th, 2021. The event is set to continue celebrating Pokemon's 25th anniversary and Pokemon Go's 5th anniversary. Further details about this event will come at a later point. But, they do these Pokemon Go Fests every year. If you're
they did it last year the same way, right? It was at home.
Yeah, it's designed to be accessible to people who are still socially distancing and people who aren't going out to public places just yet, which is great. I had a lot of fun with it last year, so I know that this setup works. It'll be just fine. I highly recommend it if you haven't done a Pokemon Go Fest thing before. I think this is a great opportunity because it really is. Like, it was really fun to see how many people were playing, even though everyone was like parked in their cars or, even just playing from, nearby in their homes and things like that. It was pretty cool to see all my friends online. All my Pokemon Go friends were all on playing. It was great.
I might participate this year. I didn't pay last year. I just kind of took advantage of the free event things.
Yeah, because there is still they still have some cool free stuff going on. But I mean, friggin' do it, man! It's great.
Yeah, I think I will this year, especially now that we're doing a podcast about it.
Yeah, well, and if you're trying to get more into Pokemon Go again, which I usually go in cycles, and so I'm in a little bit of a downswing right now, but I'll be back up on it right when Pokemon Go Fest is starting. So it's a great opportunity to get reactive again because there's so many Pokemon that you can get during the Pokemon Go Fest. Highly recommend it. And the other last bit of news that we have is for the Pokemon Masters mobile game. The Eternal Rivals event is now available in Pokemon Masters EX. This event is a time trial event where you get scored based on the speed with which you complete the stages and rewards based on your cumulative score. It runs until 6 UTC on May 16th. Dustin, what does UTC mean?
Universal Texas Continent, Ted. I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I believe that's a time zone thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume this is.
But that's happening on May 16th. I would have looked it up, but honestly, we've talked about it before. Pokemon Masters, not really something either of us are super into.
I threw this in the news just because I was like, this is an event that's going on. Maybe people that do listen.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if they're going to watch, if we're trying to make a show for all Pokemon fans, then we should talk about news for all Pokemon fans. And there's got to be some Pokemon Masters fans out there. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep making Pokemon Masters content.
Yeah, I want to say I feel like it's pretty popular. Like, not with really people that I know, but
I mean, I downloaded it. I played through the first couple of intro missions. I'm like, okay, I can see this.
Yeah. I have it right here with my Pokemon Go, Pokemon Home, and Pokemon Masters EX.
Yeah, it's just so hard to commit to spending time on mobile games when there's real games. Well, I shouldn't say real games. You know what I mean? Console or PC games that I want to play. And coordinated universal time is what Ethan tells me UTC is. That is interesting.
Well, then why isn't it universal time coordinated?
It probably is in whatever language it was created in. Maybe they say it in a different order. Who knows? Point is, I'm sure it makes sense to someone.
Yeah. Someone, not me.
Okay, well, so that's our news. And if you're watching live with us, you've been seeing that I've had this video playing all this whole time. Last night I started new Pokemon Snap, and I was streaming, the game as I was playing it. So what we're watching here is the video from last night. Just we're just gonna have that playing while we're talking about the game. So if you're listening to the audio, we're still going to be describing everything as we're talking about it, but the visual people will get to actually see what we're talking about as well, which hopefully they'll enjoy. So our main topic, new Pokemon Snap. It's here, Dustin.
Here. It's been so long. Over 20 years we've been waiting for this game.
So the original Pokemon Snap came out in 1999, which is absolutely insane.
I was 8 years old.
I was 11. So once again, Dustin reminding the audience that he is younger than me.
Hey, we're both in our 30s though, okay?
That's true. That's true. So, yeah, it's been a really long time. And bizarrely, and this is something that even now that we have new Pokemon Snap, I will never understand why they waited so long to come out with a sequel, especially when the Wii U looked like the perfect console for a Pokemon Snap game. Holding the tablet in front of you, it seems like that would have been the sort of gimmick they would have jumped at. But here we are, a whole other console later, and finally we got our sequel.
Pokemon Snap was, in my opinion, it would have been easy money for them. They could have released a Pokemon Snap 2 on N64 as well, like they did with Pokemon Stadium 2, which would have introduced the Gold and Silver Pokemon, so all the Johto Pokemon. And then on GameCube, they totally could have put out one that had the Hoenn region, like they could have just
done it region by region.
Yeah.
In some ways, I'm kind of glad that they don't do that, because I do like that we're having a region here in the Lentil region in Pokemon Snap where you have Pokemon from all over.
Yeah.
Which I would love to know the confluence of events that led to all these Pokemon that are native to other regions being in this region. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to look too far into it, because when you start to do that, you start to become a grumpy old man. And I'm not going to do that with this game, because this
Wait a
game
minute. This wouldn't be here.
This game is supposed to be lighthearted fun, and that's what it delivers on.
It's exactly what it is. We're in such a weird place right now where it is nice that things are starting to slowly go back to normal with the vaccines being more readily available, but they're
in the
not
United
normal.
States.
In the United States, yes. In the United States here, things are slowly starting to go back to normal, but they're not 100% normal, and people are still stuck at home. It's been really kind of dark and morbid in the world, so this is just like a nice little
it kind of fills the same sort of niche that Animal Crossing did last year.
Yep. That's what I was thinking too, was Animal Crossing. I had never played an Animal Crossing before that, had no interest in Animal Crossing, and now I have over 100 hours in the newest Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
So
that game definitely served its purpose, and this one's coming in at, as Dustin said, sort of not quite the tail end, but we're approaching the tail end of people all staying home all the time, because in the United States, at least, more and more people are becoming vaccinated. Yeah. Fingers crossed vaccines become more available worldwide, because I know we've got friends all over the world that I can't wait for them to get vaccinated so that they can start enjoying things the way they used to, because I know that I've only been fully vaccinated for a couple of weeks, and I'm already much happier. It's important to get there to where people can get out there. So shout out to everyone all over the world that's still waiting on their vaccine.
We're
hoping for you guys to get that soon.
We're very fortunate to be able to say that we have gotten vaccinated, and not everybody can. So yeah, like Jeff said, hopefully the vaccines start to roll out everywhere soon, because it's definitely, I'm in the same boat. I do feel like a little bit of weight has been lifted off my shoulders of just the constant fear.
Right. So with that already uplifting feeling that we're getting, this game comes out, and it is just you get the nostalgia of the original Pokemon Snap combined with just really fun, chill gameplay. This is remarkably low pressure gaming. It's like taking pictures. I mean, that's what it is. So,
and it's all the different environments too. It's so cool. You're just getting to, and we're not traveling really. Like nobody's traveling, so you're getting to go to like these cool parks and like the desert and there's the beach and stuff like that where like tropical places where I'm sure most people really aren't getting to do that stuff right now. So it's really cool to like it's the same thing that happened with the Microsoft Flight Simulator. Like a lot of people were like, "Ooh, I can fly home in this game," because
Yes.
they weren't getting to travel. So it's
Yeah, I
really
mean, so yeah,
cool.
there's a little bit of that, wish fulfillment thing, getting to go
Yeah.
experience environments and things that you haven't been able to for a little while. So
The That's why I've been liking the beach so much so far
you can
in the
just keep going
game.
back and rolling through that beach level and over,
Yeah,
over and over again.
exactly.
So I did want to like just kind of run through some general things that you talk about with video games, kind of get your first impressions. This is not technically a review because Dustin and I have not beaten the game yet. So, I personally, overall, I think there are games that you can give a review on without having completely beaten the game. But then there's games that I imagine Pokemon Snap is one of those where the game is just not long enough to warrant taking the shortcut and not actually finishing the game before reviewing. So we're calling these our first impressions because I can't imagine that the game is so long that we can just skip to the end and say what our thoughts are.
Yeah, we haven't even seen all the Pokemon too, so I think it'd be doing a disservice to not at least get to see everything and share our opinions. Plus, it gives we're not like spoiling everything for everybody too. If we have anything that we want to say that maybe there's a Pokemon that shows up that hadn't been shown in commercials or anything like
Yeah,
that.
well, and I'll say with the video that we have running here, this is all in the first 3 hours of the game, and I repeat some of the tracks a few times, so you're not getting any major spoilers. In fact, I think that the coolest thing you'll see in the video is the first Lumina route, which they
That's
also
been shown
revealed
in
ahead of time.
trailers, yeah.
So that's not going to be a big surprise for anyone there either. But so first thing I wanted to talk about was graphics. What do you think, Dustin?
It looks great. I don't really have any complaints. I think it definitely looks better when you're out on the tram, like taking photos of the Pokemon, than some of the human characters look kind of wonky to me.
Agreed.
I feel like the coloring looks kind of off, especially on Rita. Like there's some like, I don't know, something about her looks like makes her look like a toy.
They have sort of a plastic look to them, all of them,
Yeah,
and there's a certain level of rigidity to their movements that I mean, they're just not the focus of the game. So like,
yeah.
I can't imagine they spent too much of their resources on the human characters. Uh, I would have liked, that they did, but I'm not overly broken up that they didn't.
Yeah, so if you've never played Pokemon Snap or haven't played this game and have no idea what we're talking about, it's basically there's just like a hub world where you go to and the other characters like pop up for you to talk to. You see your character very rarely in those situations, so it's like they'll just be standing there giving you dialogue and they'll either actually be talking or it'll just be text on the bottom. And that's what we're talking about when it shows those human characters. They just look kind of funny there. They look a little bit better in the like cut scenes with the actual like
Where they
voice.
move.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's all those characters aside, I think the Pokemon look great,
Pokemon look
especially when
yeah.
you're out taking the photos, like you said. I do have an issue, and I noticed this on the stream last night. When you're selecting the photos that you want to submit to the professor for him to review, why is it that the preview photos are so pixelated?
Yeah, I've noticed that as well too. It's like hard to know if it's like I had a photo recently of a Cradilly and Cradily, however you pronounce it, and it looked kind of funny in the thing, but it was a higher rated photo than the one I had before. So I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, Cradle Lily, more like Crap Lily. I don't actually mean that.
It's no Armaldo, but
It's no Armaldo. That's a fact. But in any case, I think that the Pokemon look good in the overworld. In fact, I think that they look better in this than they do in Sword and Shield.
yeah,
And I think in large part that's going to be because they designed these sprites you're going to be up close on them. You're zooming in, so they have to be a little higher
yeah, you're
detail, I
like
think.
you're right in the face of Wailord at one point, like
Yeah.
literally. So like just smack dab in the face.
But I think that while the Pokemon look great, I do think this is a game that is like it looks good in comparison to other Pokemon games, and certainly in comparison to original Pokemon Snap. but I am under no delusion that this is a great graphical game. I honestly, there's better looking games on the Switch, so I don't know, you know, I don't know what it is with the Pokemon Company in general. I feel like they struggle to make graphical leaps from game to game, and like honestly, I like I Breath of the Wild is you would think that game came out much earlier. They should have a better idea how to program for the graphics in this game because more time has passed. They've learned how the console works, how to program for it, and I just feel like we're not quite there yet. I mean, it's not bad, like we said. The Pokemon look cool, and it doesn't take away from the game too much for me. I would like it to. I would like to see more. Like
I don't feel as harshly, I don't think it's towards them. Like I actually think it looks pretty good. But I think a lot of the limitations is just the console itself. And I think that's a big part is that the Switch, it just really isn't that powerful of a console if you think about it. So they can only do so much with that. But I'm not gonna sit here and also act like the Pokemon Company is like every time a new Pokemon game comes out, they're like pushing the limit and
yeah.
making all these groundbreaking, uh, like groundbreaking, for lack of a better word, evolutions to the series.
Nice, good pun,
Yeah.
Dustin. The next thing I wanted to touch on was the music in the game. I feel like music is a big part of every Pokemon game, and it's always worth talking about it. I personally feel like the music in New Pokemon Snap is, upbeat and catchy
Yeah.
enough that I enjoy it, but it also does that thing that is so great about every Pokemon game that the music loops unending, but in a way that doesn't become annoying. Like I don't know what it is about the music, how they write it just
Yeah.
in such a way that you're aware of the music, you hear it, it gets stuck in your head, but you also don't hate it. And the only exception to that rule is Lavender Town, where the music gets stuck in your head and you hate it.
It's so funny because I literally, like, as soon as started talking about the music and like it getting stuck in your head, it was the battle theme for me is just playing on loop now in my head.
But
But yeah,
but you don't hate it. Am I
I
right?
don't. I love it. The Pokemon battle theme song is perfect. Okay, so for me, the music in this is, yeah, like you said, I don't dislike any of it. But because of it just looping in the background, I kind of just zone out on it. Like at a certain point, I just don't even hear it anymore. Like I'm just playing the game and like don't even really realize that there's music playing in the background. But I'd like to add as well too to the music, since we're on that part of it. The creature sounds are really good as well too.
Yes, yes, a very good point, Dustin. That's a big complaint that I have had with every other Pokemon game, that they just don't do a good job making sounds for the creatures. Like if you're not going to make them say their names, I'm fine with that. They don't have to say their names. I always thought that was a weird choice that they did that for the show, but at least give me some actual sounds and not weird 8-bit screeches. And I think they've done a good job giving them the kind of noises that those creatures would actually make.
So, and then also what I was gonna say, what's the name of the like ring flower thing that like floats around? It like looks like a lei.
Oh, Comfey?
Yeah, Comfey that's like floating around or whatever in that field in like the really pretty garden you go to.
Yeah.
Sounds exactly like it does in Detective Pikachu, the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was super cool that it was like I went in there, I'm like, wait, what? That sounds so familiar. And yeah, I just thought it was really cool that
Well, and
they've got that.
I think, and the noises that they make, like we already said, are they match the creatures pretty well. But that's actually one of the things that I like best about this game is that you get to hear the Pokemon make sounds that you haven't heard them make before, and it almost makes them more quote unquote realistic.
Exactly. It
Uh,
makes them feel like a
like
real animal.
an animal, like hearing the noises that they have Charmander make in this game are believable as noises that a pretty big lizard would make.
Yeah.
There, as opposed to saying Charmander.
Yeah, or
over
like
and over.
Whalmer, when you see Whalmer underwater too.
It
It's
makes
like
whale
sounds like a
noises.
whale. Yeah.
Yes,
Really
perfect.
cool.
Do that.
Yeah.
Do that in Sword and Shield. Give me that. I'll be okay with that.
They did a really good job with the sounds, and I think the music, it, like you said, it's really like it's really good and it doesn't get in the way of anything. Like there's never a point where I'm like really distracted by how annoying the music is. It's just there, it puts me in the zone. I'm just going around taking photos of Pokemon. I've probably replayed every level so far at least 2 to 3 times, if not more. So it's like, and when I say every level, I mean every level I've unlocked. I have not beaten this game yet, like we said, but I'm not getting tired of any of the music.
Same, same. So let's move on to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which was the characters. We touched on them a little earlier about how they look graphically. Are these characters doing anything for you?
Um, Not really. None of them are like offensively bad to where I hate them, except with the exception of the other little kid that kind of shows up. He
Phil?
just kind of annoys me. Yeah,
Get out of here, Phil. I
yeah.
do not need you.
Um, this is like light spoilers, but if you're watching the video anyways, Todd shows up, and I thought that was really cool.
I did think that was really cool. I did wonder, like, is that a reveal? Or I mean, I
I
think
think
everyone who
so.
played original Pokemon Snap probably anticipated Todd would show up in one
I
capacity or
see.
another.
I wasn't sure. I was not sure if he was going to be involved. So for me, I was like, "Oh, sweet, there's Todd."
I thought that it would at least be referenced. Like, the thing that I can't remember is Professor Mirror the same professor from the first game?
No, it was Professor Oak in the
Okay, I
first
thought
game.
so. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So, because they keep, I guess maybe that's who Professor Mirror is referencing. He says, "Oh, I had a
Well,
friend help me come up with this," and I thought he was referring to Todd, but I suppose it might have been Professor Oak.
yeah, yeah. And then at first when they started making references, I guess light story spoilers, but about the like character who had come there before or like done this before, I didn't know that they were talking about someone that was like it was like 100 years
100
ago
years
or
ago.
whatever.
And
Yeah,
I don't know if that counts as spoilers. Again, that's like
it's in the first
it's the first
cutscene,
5 minutes
second
of the game
cutscene.
that they
Yeah,
talk about that.
yeah. So if you plan on playing this game, that's really not a spoiler for you, but
Yeah, I mean
figured I would at least give that warning.
that's
Yeah, I don't.
that's what kind of the impetus of this research is that there's all these legends about Pokemon in this region, and a lot of it was stuff that was uh, written about this adventurer who wrote down all his adventures, and that's who they're talking about. He's the inspiration and the reason behind the research that this professor is doing because he believes all the legends are true,
Yeah,
and so of course all the legends are true.
yeah, right. Wouldn't make wouldn't make any sense for a Pokemon game if they weren't true.
But as far as the characters go, I don't think there's. I mean, there's not a lot to them. You
No,
have Rita, who's the professor's assistant, and I think that honestly, they just felt like they wanted another character
yeah.
because she basically does the
Well,
tutorial stuff when the professor
so
isn't doing tutorial stuff.
I thought she was essentially like the rival character of
Well, that's
like
what I
I
thought it
want to
was
be
going to be
doing this,
too,
and then they introduce another rival character. I
and
was
that's
like,
Phil.
hmm,
And
yeah,
Phil's just loud. Although I got to
yeah.
say that the voice actor for Phil sounds super familiar to me, and I'll need to look that up.
I
Uh,
honestly can't even like remember any of the voice acting in this game right now, like how good or bad it
In fact,
is.
I think that the voice actor for Phil is the voice actor for Killua in Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, okay.
Look that up for me, Dustin, while I'm moving on to the next topic.
Let's take a look here.
uh, well, I guess I was going to talk about the voice acting. I don't know that the voice acting was necessary in general. I
I I thought it was just at least going to be the whole time. I didn't know that they were going to do the text uh, boxes for like specific scenes. I've never super been a fan of that. Like if you're going to commit to doing voice acting, just do voice acting for the whole time.
That's my
Like
thing. I
even in
hate half
Persona 5,
measures.
yeah, even in Persona 5, I absolutely love that game, but it does the same thing. Like they do the exact same thing and
Now I know that this is not a super narrative driven game, so maybe they thought that like that would not be worth the investment to go fully voiced all the way through. But as much as the music doesn't get repetitive and annoying, the things that the professor says every time you submit a photo do get repetitive and annoying. And I think that if they had just recorded more dialogue, more lines for the professor at the very least to give a little more variety, you know, overall I think that would be better.
yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to look and see here. IMDb is really complicated
Yeah,
because they
because they
put
list the Japanese
Japanese,
actors.
and then I also don't know if they're like throwing in. I don't think so. I think but I do. From what I'm seeing, it's actually the same voice actor as Gon.
Oh, you know what? No, it is Gon. I knew it was from Hunter x Hunter.
But yes, you were right. Same voice actor from Hunter x Hunter. It's just Gon.
Just Gon,
Kind
not
of
Kilowog.
similar hairstyle if you think
Yep.
about it.
Griffin Burns, Ethan shouts out in the chat. Is that the name you got there, Dustin?
For the voice actor that plays the kid, I got
Ooh.
I got an Erica Mendez is what I
And that
see.
sounded more familiar to me because I thought it was a woman that voiced both those characters. Anyways, voice acting could be better. There's no
Fine.
reason. It's fine, but like, there's no reason to go like either don't give me any voices or give me fully voiced dialogue. The half measure stuff is just weak.
It basically is just anime voice acting. Like a lot of the voice actors, if you look through the list, are essentially
Oh yeah, and they're
gonna be
good voice
similar.
actors. You know, so like I don't know why you wouldn't just give them a more substantial like thing, but it's fine. The game's not about that. Like we said, the human characters are basically just so you have someone to talk to between missions.
Yeah, they're the ones who give you different like missions slash uh research things to do or whatever they're called. That's not what word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean there's research
The
tasks and uh, the Len talk thing.
Yeah, that's what I was
The
trying to think about. They'll like be like, hey,
requests. That's
there's
the word we're looking
yes,
for.
the request. There's like a Pokemon that's doing this thing. Can you get a photo of it?
I've heard that this Pokemon does something pretty cool when you do this. Can you go try that? And then you go try that, and sure enough, it does exactly what they said it would.
Thank you, Harry. Request or challenges, yeah.
So let's get into the gameplay here a little bit, because obviously that's the most important thing in this game.
Because there's a lot of it.
There's a lot of it, and you know they. First thing I wanted to touch on was the controls. They obviously the game is on rails again, just like it was on the original Pokemon Snap. How do you feel about that?
Fine. It I think the game would be a little too easy if it wasn't on rails, because then you could like literally just go try to get the perfect photo. It does make it so you have to replay through the levels more to get the right photo. Sometimes it's frustrating, but at the same time it's like whatever, maybe I'll get a good photo of a different Pokemon on this run.
So I think that they, you know, I don't even remember if they said this, but my head canon for it is that the justification for why it's on rails is because you're going to natural habitats, and your goal is to not mess up the natural habitats.
Yeah.
So they have you go on these set paths. That's my mental justification for it. I don't know if they said that in game or not. I honestly don't remember.
I don't know if they do, but also at the same time, it's like I feel like it would add another complication in general, anyways. Because like this time, you're not having to worry about moving around; you're just aiming and then taking the photo. So,
yeah. So
I'm totally okay with it.
Like Dustin said, it does make for a lot more replayability, because you're going to have to run through the same route multiple times in order to get the shot you're looking for, which adds to the length of the game. So as long as you're having fun with the actual mechanics of the game, that's not so much a bad thing. It is like every time I miss a shot, or like I turn at the last second and see a Pokemon that I really wish that I had noticed earlier so I could have lined up a better shot for it. My first thought is always, man, I wish I could, go back up a little bit and do that again. But of course you can't.
I would say one thing for the gameplay that I don't necessarily love is when you're trying to get a picture of a specific Pokemon and sometimes it doesn't register that that's the Pokemon you're trying to take a photo of.
100%.
And it'll get either one in the background or just won't read that Pokemon at all. I won't really go into spoilers for it. It's not like a story thing, but it's like one of those requests or challenges where you have to get a Pokemon doing a certain thing. And I got the Pokemon to do the thing and I went to take the photo. And at the end of it, I was like, where's that photo? And I go and look and it's just in my like random photos or whatever.
Yeah.
It just wasn't actually.
No, one that didn't have a subject or something like that.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, I got the picture of the Pokemon. I just didn't scan the Pokemon in the photo. So that was a little annoying.
That is frustrating, especially since a lot of the coolest poses or coolest like events that the Pokemon do, like that you trigger, are with other Pokemon.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you're trying to get a shot of this Pokemon, but you scrolled over the other one first, it doesn't necessarily automatically switch to the one that you want. You have to like wait and make sure that it's
Yeah.
on the right one, and
A
oftentimes
good
it means you
example
missed the shot that you wanted.
a good example of that is literally in the first episode with the group or first mission with the Grookey and the Pichu.
Yep.
That you're like trying to get a picture of one or the other, and it's hard to get the one that you want sometimes.
One that's actually on the screen right now that I was frustrated with in the first missions is like the nighttime one. There's a pincer that is buried in the ground, and
Oh yeah,
you
it took me a little while on that
have
one.
to get it to wake up. But by the time it like jumps out of the ground, you are right on it. Like there's
Yeah.
not enough time, and that's just with one Pokemon. But my frustration with that is that sometimes that these events take just a hair too long to trigger, and then maybe that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be really hard to get a cool shot, but what I ended up with was a bunch of pictures of just like Pincer's face right up in front of the camera.
I have a lot of those too. I'm looking at your gameplay now, and I do love the picture of the Grookey and the Pichu sleeping with the Torterra.
Isn't that great?
So cute.
Adorable. Hashtag
Yeah.
Grookey gang.
Hashtag not Grookey gang.
I
but
took
whatever.
a picture of the Score Bunny too. I got a good picture of the Score Bunny.
I got a couple good ones of that too.
But yeah, so the actual controls of the game, sometimes I feel like your camera doesn't pan fast enough, and I don't think
You can adjust the speed.
That's what I was gonna say. Is they don't do a great job of telling you that you can adjust that speed. It's like a little, it shows up as like a tip, before one.
I went into the options later on because you're right, they don't tell you. And I was trying to do something else, and I saw that I'm like, oh, I can turn this up, sweet. Because yeah, it's really slow.
Well, and
Really
another trick that I learned earlier today is that if you actually press the arrow pad, if you press left arrow, it pans a full 90 degrees to the left. If you press the up arrow, it goes back to center, and if you press the right arrow, it goes 90 degrees to the right, and it does it like almost instantaneously. So if you really know, like, okay, I need to take a picture of Dodrio here on the right, but I know as soon as I get past the Dodrio, I got to quickly turn because Emolga's flying at you. You can press the up arrow and pan right back around to the front. So that is a tip. And they didn't tell me in the game. I just happened to press the button.
Speaking of, I had a hard time with that Emolga one for a while because it just kind of like pops up out of nowhere, and then you're like frantically trying to like rotate around to find where it goes.
And then it's like, oh, it's gone. Is it going to come back?
Yeah.
And then and then it does, but by then you've already turned to look at another Pokemon.
Saying all of that though, like the gameplay and everything like that, it works fine. Like I don't really have an issue. I think my biggest issue that I have has nothing to do with the game. It has to do with Nintendo itself, where I'll still sometimes push B accidentally instead of A because
that's not Nintendo's fault, Dustin.
No, well, just because like, at this point I'm so used to every controller now. A, X, whatever is like the bottom button. So like just I always go to push it, and
they're different on every console.
Yeah. But it's Nintendo's fault.
I'm gonna fight you on that, Dustin, because the Super Nintendo
had A. Had
that before Xbox, before PlayStation. So they had it first. So if you learned it anyway, it should have been the Nintendo way.
And it honestly was for the longest time.
Harry agrees with me, even though he's just quoting me in the chat.
It's Nintendo's fault. Anyways,
so as far as the controls go, like they have a lot of the features that you are familiar with from the original Pokemon Snap. You've got you're throwing fruit in this game. They're called Fluff Fruit. Okay, cool.
It's lighter than an apple.
It's lighter than an apple is the whole point. I think they just say that so that you won't feel bad about beaning a Pokemon in the face with an apple.
Seriously.
You also throw Illumina orbs instead of in the original game you threw like rocks, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's been a long time. It's been almost 20 years since I played Pokemon Snap. But yeah, I remember you had two different things you could throw in the original game. You have two different things you can throw in this one. But the Illumina orbs are for making the Pokemon glow or for activating the crystal blooms or whatever they're called. There's these flowers in the game that light up when you hit them with the orbs. and it
I
makes
can't remember if it's
Pokemon do cool
Crystal
stuff.
Blooms or Crystal Blossoms or something like that. But
So
I know what you're talking
those are the two throne things. They've also added some additional things like you can play a little tune, a musical thing, and
about.
sometimes it makes Pokemon do things, and other times it does nothing. So I find
It's the same
myself
thing.
constantly spamming it with every Pokemon I see, just to see is this one that
Sometimes,
does a dance?
honestly, sometimes I forget that it's. Oh, Harry says it wasn't rocks; it was pester balls.
Pester balls, that's the one. They're basically rocks,
Um,
though, right?
but
The rocks were definitely in the Safari Zone.
sometimes I forget about the music. Like I use it. There are certain Pokemon who be like, "Oh, I should use music here," like the Blossoms. I
Yeah,
used it on those, but I just sometimes I forget about it.
and let me guess. When you saw the Blossoms, you definitely your first thought was, "Oh, they dance in the movie, so obviously I should play
Yep,
music for them," right?
yep, hundred
That
percent.
was my thought as well.
I think
Uh,
it's the movie that was before Pokemon 2000,
yeah, the
right?
short the short
Yeah.
before Pokemon the movie 2000, which our review for that will be soonish. So be
Yeah.
ready
Well,
for
now
that.
we're in May, so it'll be sometime this
It's going to
month.
be sometime this month. Uh, but yeah, so and then the other thing that they have is the scan button, which is the one that I forget about the most often. Obviously, there's points where it indicates on screen, hey, press the scan button because there's something you should be scanning. Crystal
Yep.
Bloom, it's on the screen right now. The flower that I was talking about that lights up when you hit it, Crystal
Crystal
Bloom.
Bloom.
And there's a different Crystal Bloom for every island, and that's relevant to the actual gameplay. But anyways, the scan, I always forget that you can use that also to wake up Pokemon sometimes or make them do things because it you know it's like it makes a high pitch frequency that causes some Pokemon to react to it, which gives you a chance to get again a different pose.
Yeah. Because we
Uh,
didn't even talk about that there's a 4-star system and there's different poses that you're supposed to get for each Pokemon.
right.
So there'll be different reasons for that. Like Jeff is saying with the scanning, it can get a reaction out of them. Same thing with the music, it'll get them to do a different pose. The apples or fluff fruit.
So the scanning is also very important because it is how you unlock certain paths and routes.
Yep.
You'll see the indicator will pop up, so like you really shouldn't miss it. But if you were really focused on taking a picture of a Pokemon when the scan
Sometimes you just get
opportunity,
there late,
yeah,
like
sometimes
sometimes
you
you're just
miss
a
it.
little bit too late.
But it's not. I want to make it clear that it's not hard to scan them. It's not like a frustrating thing. It's just oh well, I'll run it back and do this one again
Yep.
so I can scan that thing. But you do
The
that and
levels
you
aren't
unlock different
particularly
things.
long either.
Yeah, and which was interesting because I had heard from some people who had gotten it earlier, people getting preview copies and things like that, including Joey Noel from Kind of Funny, were complaining that some of the routes felt a little long, especially the Illumina routes. And I've only done 2 of the Illumina routes so far, and I really didn't think they were that bad. I
I
don't
haven't
think
really had an issue.
I don't think any of them are overly too long. Uh, the Illumina routes are definitely the ones that come the closest to running too long for me, though, because on those routes you only have one Pokemon that you're taking a picture of the entire time. At least so far. Maybe it changes as you go further
Did
along.
you Speaking of that, did you go back to do the first Illumina route at all since you've done it?
No, I only did it the once so far. I'll go
You sh
back.
you should go back and do it.
Okay. Well,
I won't
I mean,
I won't
I intend to.
No, I won't spoil it, but, like, you specifically should go back and do it.
Yeah, and Harry shouts out in the chat, long? Everything's 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
was gonna
yeah.
say they all feel like they're about 5 minutes long.
So I really don't think they're
Something
too
like that.
bad. The only time that it literally the only time I felt that a route was too long was when I ran out of photos, before I got to the end of it.
I literally did that right before our podcast on the one I was playing. I found a new route on one of the levels, and I ran out of photos, and I was like, "Well, this kinda sucks." I'm just, like, sitting there looking at these other
Yeah.
Pokemon.
So, but actually, that's kind of a cool thing because it's only on the first time that you go through the route that happens. If you run out of photos to take because you're limited to 72 per route, again, as a method of forcing you to replay things,
Yep.
uh, you you have 72 photos. If you run out on your first time through a route, it lets you, I'll put that in quotes, ride the rest of the route so you can see what other Pokemon are on this route. So that when you go back again, you'll know, okay, I need to save some photos for these things here at the end.
Yeah.
But if it's not your first time going through the route, it ends as soon as you run out of photos. So, you know, it's only tedious that one time that you're like, oh
Yeah.
god, man, I shouldn't have taken so many photos of Trapinch at the beginning of this route. I took like 60 photos of Trapinch.
Well, they jump out of the sand. It's
I
cool.
know, it was kind of cool, you know?
And that's another thing too. I mean, I'm sure you're seeing that people are seeing it on the video. I'm not watching the same video as everybody, and then there's also audio listeners, but there is a day and night cycle, so you can go into levels again, and there's different Pokemon. So, for example, the Trapinch that Jeff is talking about is there's a desert level, and during the day there's not a Trapinch right at the beginning, but at night there's like 3 Trapinch that jump out of the sand right at the beginning, and it's cool that there's just different Pokemon.
Yeah, and again, that adds for more replayability. I mean, when
Yep.
especially before this came out, the thing that we were so focused on, Dustin and I, was how long is this game going to be?
Is
Because
it going to be worth $60 for like the length and stuff?
we loved the original Pokemon Snap, but we probably, I mean, I certainly wasn't. Dustin probably wasn't paying for his own video games back then. And honestly, $60 for that game was probably not a fair price because the whole game was like 5 hours long.
I honestly think it was probably shorter than that.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I'm giving it,
giving it a generous.
benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah.
And so when I hit 5 hours of playtime on this game, already, I was like, okay, here we go. This is, and
Yep.
I could tell I have so much left to do. I've probably at this point played 8 hours, 9 hours of the game.
I want to say I'm somewhere between 6 to 8 hours. It's the Switch's internal system for telling you how long you played games kind of sucks
It's
when
really
it's a new
bad.
game too. Especially because it only says like you started playing this 2 days ago. Like it doesn't tell me how much of
It's
it
like
I
I
played.
know I started playing it 2 days ago. That doesn't help me answer the question I'm looking for though.
I would say, yeah, anywhere between 5 to 8 hours is probably where I'm at of like consistent playtime
And
of
so
the
by
game.
comparison to the original Pokemon Snap, we've already gotten more out of this than we did, the original playthrough from that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how many levels there even was. Like I know there was the first beach level,
I want to
there
say there
was
was
the
7.
cave, there was the volcano, there was the water level, there was the Mew level, and then I'm trying to remember if there's even another one other than those ones.
Yes, there is an in-game clock. Harry has shouted out. So that is something we can go look up
Oh,
ourselves.
well, yeah, I'm gonna look it up real quick while we're talking about this because I would love to know how much I've actually played. I'm gonna
After
assume it's in
you've
the
looked it up, I will go look up mine.
yeah,
But so this is something I wanted to talk about. We were talking about the items that you get. How do you feel about them giving you the items in like sort of a piecemeal fashion? That each time you go through a route, you get one more of your items to use. And I mean,
sure.
it's not always you get one more, but what do you think about that? Is it too
I
much
think
forcing you to replay, or
no, I think it's nice. It kind of has one of those things where you're going through a level and you're like, I feel like there's something else I can do here. I feel like there's a certain way to make this easier or get the shot, and then you like get an item that you can come back and try something later. So that's kind of nice. I don't really mind it. I like that they're giving me more stuff to do. Just because it's like adding more stuff. But it does sometimes like having to go back through and take a picture of the what'd you say the name of the flower
crystal
was? The
blooms?
Yeah, you have to go back through and like find it and take a photo of it and
Well, and so this
that will
this actually
unlock it.
this brings me to something I did want to talk about here in the gameplay section. One of the main focuses of this game is Illumina Pokemon, which is a phenomenon that happens in this region, in the Lentil region, and that is Pokemon that glow in the dark, basically.
Yeah.
And you get the Illumina orbs to throw at them by taking a picture of the crystal blooms while they're glowing, which only happens on the nighttime routes. So your first time through one of the routes during the daytime on an island, you're not going to be able to do anything with the crystal blooms and you won't have the Illumina orbs. It's not until you come back the second time and go at night that you can possibly unlock the crystal blooms for that island. Uh, what do you think of the Illumina Pokemon so far? Is it a cool feature?
I think it's cool. it's this game's gimmick. If anybody's played any Pokemon mainline game, almost every game has a gimmick. That's what this is. It has the Illumina Pokemon. It's cool to get the photos of them. It's cool that they'll do different poses, like the Tangrowth. If you hit it with an Illumina orb, it does something different. So, it's kind of cool. 100% honesty, I don't think it's necessary, but it is story related, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
Like
I
I'd be
just
fine
don't
with
know. Like as far as gimmicks go for Pokemon games, this is by far the simplest gimmick.
yeah. Yeah, and nothing happens really. They just glow.
They
Like,
glow,
yeah.
and sometimes it causes them to do, like we said, different poses and things for the pictures.
Dodrio jumps in the air, I think, when
Yeah,
you hit it with yeah, there's like a couple different things that happen. But
so like it's fun. It does
yeah.
I do get that momentary excitement when you get them to do a new pose. It's like, oh yes, snap, 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 and then I've wasted 10 photos and only one of them is actually any good.
Yeah, they don't sometimes you think you're getting better photos than you are for sure. Like I do that a lot. I'm like, that's gonna be a great photo, and I look at it, I'm like, oh, it was not a good photo. Also to circle back, I found the internal clock and I'm at 7 hours and 55 minutes. Now, granted, I sometimes leave my Switch sitting there while doing other things without turning it off. And I was looking and it looks like the game clock just kind of runs.
So
Yeah, if you go to your space, like if you go into the lab and then go to your
go to
space.
MySpace.
Yeah. If you go into the your space tab, it just tells you right there.
Oh
How long
yeah,
you
look
played.
at that. There it is.
What do you got?
For total playtime, 7 hours 34 minutes.
Yeah, so I'd say we're roughly about the same amount of time probably played. But again, sometimes I set my Switch down and do something, or I run to
Yeah.
do something while it's
Well,
paused, or
and the other thing we noticed is that we did not do the routes in the same order, which is
yeah,
cool because it does give you some options as you're progressing through the game. That to like you've unlocked multiple new routes at the same time.
yeah.
You can do them in whatever order you want. That's kind of cool. Uh, but back on the Illumina Pokemon, I think comparing it to other Pokemon game gimmicks is a little unfair because there's no way they could come up with something as cool as Mega
Mega
Evolutions
evolutions.
or frankly even Z moves are a cooler gimmick. Even though they're not my favorite gimmick, they're better than just glowing. That being said, because of its simplicity, I do think this is the sort of thing that I could see them adding in future Pokemon games. That maybe you encounter, Illumina Pokemon, or get the opportunity to get one traded to you from someone visiting from the Lentil region or something like that. I think that would be a cool way to integrate Pokemon Snap more with future Pokemon titles.
It it would be cool if maybe something happened, like if there was more moves that were unlocked or something like that, or if there was like I don't know.
I think it would be as cool as like having a shiny sprite. Obviously,
Yeah,
it would just be
I guess
another
that's true. I just more so mean in this game.
visual.
I feel like sometimes you just throw an Illumina orb and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and
Like
that's
you
true.
think it's gonna
Sometimes
do
it
something.
doesn't do anything. But
They just glow.
uh, what I usually say with the Illumina things is that if it's not doing something when I hit it with the Illumina orb, then I assume that there's a crystal bloom nearby. That if I hit that with the Illumina orb, that might actually trigger the thing that the Pokemon will do. Because most of them have something that will happen if you trigger a crystal bloom near them.
Yeah.
So if the Illumina orb doesn't work on them when you hit them with it, look for a crystal bloom nearby, and that could trigger something for that
This
Pokemon.
game this game's surprisingly deep in that aspect of like all the little things that you have to try to get different types of like different pictures, because again the star rating system is for different poses. So some Pokemon you need to do certain things that you may not you're just like thinking about it, you're like, hey, maybe if I try this it'll be cool. Like in the I think the desert level, like the Torchic, if you throw an apple, it like lights it on fire. And then
Yeah.
that's a photo you can get, like just little things like that. Or fluff fruit, sorry.
Throw a fluff fruit.
Yeah, my
Uh,
bad. The lighter apples.
we did talk briefly earlier, but I wanted to get into that here with the rating system.
Yep.
As Dustin mentioned, you get scores, and in addition to the scores, you also get stars for your photos. Uh, And this is the most confusing thing in the game for me.
Yep, the stars aren't like based on the quality of your photo. It's just the 4 different poses.
I think it's supposed to be an indicator of how hard it is to get that pose.
Yeah, I think so too.
But even then, sometimes like I will take something that I'm positive was like it was multiple steps for me to get this Pokemon to do this pose, and it'll still come out as a 1-star pose. And I'm like, what do I got
I
to do?
or even sometimes you'll think the photo is going to be higher rated than one that you already have that's in that spot, and then the professor scores it lower, and you're like, what are you rating this on? Because I have this same Magikarp photo that's like a Magikarp jumping out of the water that was just one that I got, and I've gotten other ones that I've like tried to get better ones, and they're still way lower. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
How?
it's unclear exactly how it works, but that's the same way it was in the original Pokemon Snap, where it's an AI that is grading the quality of your photography.
Have you ever done the auto thing in this, or do you just go through and select your photos every
Oh,
time?
I always go through and select. Yeah, I guess I
Yeah,
should
I've
try the
I've never
auto at some point.
I mean I've never autoed either. I just go through and
Well,
I
now I'm
like to.
curious. Now I'm curious if it would be more effective to auto select your photos. Well, what Dustin's referring to is that there is an option when you're selecting your photos to show to the professor. You only get to select one per Pokemon,
Yep.
and if you
You
press
can
the auto
save the
button,
other photos to like your
you can save them if you want to have them for your
personal
collection,
stuff. But
but you won't get them scored.
yeah,
But if you press auto, it selects photos for you. And so
yeah,
what we're
maybe I'll
talking
try
about
that
is
too.
we're not sure if it makes it like is it more likely to get you good scores because it selects for you, or is it just random?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that as well. Like, I wonder if it affects any way of what the score is you're gonna get.
I do like having the 4-star system, and then give the scores within that because it again does add some more replayability. You're gonna go through the same route multiple times, trying to get the Pokemon in different poses, so that you get different star ratings, and
It does make
that's
it
what we're
kind
looking
of
for here.
it does make it kind of like you'll be sitting there and you have two photos. Like, let's say one of them is a 1 star and one of them's a 3 star, but they're both really good photos. So you have to like kind of be like, well, shoot, which one do I want more? Is this going to be
Which one do
better?
I think is going to be the best score?
Yeah, or like I already have a 3 star photo. Is this 3 star photo going to be better than that one and get me a higher score, or is this 1 star photo going to be better?
I really
There's
wish
been
I
times where I've gotten really good 3 star photos, but I don't have a 1 star photo, and it's like not even a good 1 star photo, but I just select it so that
select
I
it because you
have
need
the
the
one
one
star.
star.
Yeah, exactly.
uh, I was just thinking there was an article and I can't remember where I saw it. It was like it was like not a video game like magazine article. It was like Newsweek or some such thing. And the article was new Pokemon Snap doesn't care about your avant-garde photography.
Oh, that's
Which I think
hilarious.
is a great explanation for how the rating system works. Is like it's not grading you on having what realistically would be the coolest photo. Because like if you've ever taken a course on composition for photography, or even like had it like a brief art class talk about it, they don't usually want you to have the focus of your photo just smack dab in the middle of the
Yeah, they
photo.
always want it off to the side
Off
a
to the
little bit,
side,
like off
have something
center.
in the background, have some depth of field, like all that stuff. Not the professor. Professor Mirror wants your Pokemon right in the middle.
Yep. He wants your Machamp like dead center like this. He doesn't care if it's like off to the side like this or something.
Yeah, it doesn't. And or like one of the ones that I found the most frustrating was I encountered two Lichen Rocks fighting,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I know that if I take the picture such that there's a Lichen Rock on either side of the middle, that will look like the best photo to me.
And it's not.
But it's not the best photo for
Yep.
Pokemon Snap because if you don't have the Pokemon in the center, you are losing out on points, guys.
Yep. Yeah. So center your Pokemon when you take your photos for sure.
That's the easiest tip, but it
Yeah.
is funny to me. It's like this
Also
is not
try
a
throwing tough fruit at everything just to see what the reaction is.
this is not a game that is going to make you a better photographer. This is a game that's going to make you really good at centering your photos. um, we talked a little bit earlier about how long the game is. It's how much time there is into it. We're like
Yeah,
we both said, we're almost 8 hours in, and I definitely still have more than half the game left to play.
I was gonna say, I feel like what I've heard too is it runs anywhere from 12 to 15 hours, depending on like the replayability. Because if, as we've said multiple times, we've been replaying the levels a lot.
Yeah,
That's part of the game. I
if you're
easily
not
see
good,
myself.
you're gonna have to
Yeah,
replay the levels a lot, and maybe I'm just not good.
I easily see myself putting upwards of 50 hours into this game, just trying to get better photos and trying to like outdo what I have and stuff like that. I'm not competitive against like online. I don't care what my rankings are online,
I do
but
want
I
you to check
care.
the online rankings because I think it won't
Oh, I
show me
will.
your rankings until after you've looked at the online rankings.
Yeah, I'll totally look at them. But I just mean like I'm not one who's going to be like, oh man, I hope I get into the top 100 or something like that.
I last I checked was 45,000th in the world.
Let's see. How do you check it?
That's in your lab,
Okay. Oh,
or
is it
your
just on
space,
internet?
and then internet, and then it's the option for rankings. Um, but yeah, so we got plenty of time left. So I do think that this game
I'll check that
is
real fast.
substantial certainly in comparison to the original Pokemon Snap. I'm anticipating anywhere between 15 to 20 hours probably on this game. We'll see, because that'll be the real test for the quality of this game. Is after I've beaten the game, quote unquote, rolled credits and all that. How driven am I to keep coming back and taking more photos? If I am driven to keep doing that, then that will mean that this game is onto something with me, and I'm hoping that I feel that way come the end of it.
Yeah, I so far I feel like I'll be in this for a little while, but also we just entered May. We're recording this on May 1st, and on May 7th, Resident Evil Village comes out. On May 14th, Mass Effect
Legendary Edition.
Legendary Edition comes out. So yeah, I'll be playing this, but I don't know if I'll be playing it as much as I.
Yeah, well, and on that note, if you want to watch someone stream Resident Evil, follow Dustin on Twitch. He'll be streaming that. If you want to watch someone stream Mass Effect Legendary Edition, you can follow both of us, because I imagine both of us will end up streaming that.
Yeah, I might stream Mass Effect. I'm also like, this is not a Mass Effect podcast, but I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, so I kind of just want to just like
Dive in and
dive
enjoy
into
it.
that game, and yeah.
I promised
Headphones on.
I promised a follower on my channel that I would stream Mass Effect Legendary Edition, because Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game of all time. So I'm going to make good on that promise. But back to Pokemon.
Yeah.
The replayability in this game so far seems pretty good.
I would absolutely say it's a high for me. Like with how many times I've replayed that first park level, I already almost know that level like the back of my hand.
I think it just being so short is going to be, like, each route being so short is going to be the reason why it's so replayable. Like almost like if I could compare it to something completely unrelated, Civilization computer games. If you've never played those are turn-based strategy games, and the common thing with everyone who's ever played a Civ game is one more turn. Every time you finish your turn, you're like, well, I could do one more turn, because each turn's only going to take you a few minutes, and that's how I feel with these routes. Each time I go through a route, I'm like, well, I mean, I could spare another 5 minutes. I'll go do another
I
route. 3
I
hours
have
later.
I have a running joke with two of my buddies that I have a text chat group with, and like we chat about games and stuff like that. But when we used to play games more together all the time, it was always one more game, one more game, yeah, one more
Exactly.
game.
And with the routes being so short, I really do feel like that's going to be the thing with new Pokemon Snap.
I literally did it right before this episode. I picked it up and I was like, I've got time for a route real quick, and it maybe took me 3 to 5 minutes to do it. So it's easy to just pick it up.
I do think the replayability is high on this, which is fantastic. And then we touched on the online rankings. Did you see what your ranking was, Dustin?
No, it was taking a while to load. I'm also like not super close to my router, but also at the same time, I think it's because it's the first time I'm opening it, so it like hadn't loaded yet. It just says you, but then it doesn't give me a score of anybody else.
That's weird.
So I wonder if,
I mean,
it like gives me like the top person and go to
so
my
you
friend.
you can switch to you. You can go to friends, and it'll show you your place among all your friends. Last I checked, Caesar and Zyger were both ahead of me in Pokemon Snap.
Oh, you're ahead of Zyger now. Don't worry about
Aha! Take that, Zyger.
it. Let's see. My total Pokedex score is 632,129, and you
Whoa.
are above that.
Whoa. Look at us.
Let's see.
Big
You
scorers here.
are you are 668,926. But yeah, Caesar is higher than us for sure.
So the reason I wanted to bring up the rankings, in addition to bragging about me being ahead of you, was that I wanted to ask: does this add anything to you in terms of replayability for the game? Do you think this is something that will drive you at all?
Not really. Like I said, I don't really care about rankings, but I might try and fool around a little bit with the photo editing and upload some photos that I think are cool because I think there could be some cool photos that and I wouldn't mind sharing them. I did the same thing in Assassin's Creed. And the Assassin's Creed game is the most recent ones. You can get some cool photos and you can like I think it's like you hit a button to just share them and when people go to that area they can see that photo and
And I know photo
rate your
mode
photo.
is something that a lot of people really love in games these days. I've never really gotten into it myself because I kind of feel like whatever
As
photo I'm going to show is someone else has already taken this exact photo.
as a winner of PS I Love You XOXO's photo mode challenge one week, I can say sometimes it's really fun.
Shout out to Kind of Funny's PS I Love You XOXO. Great
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Where that Kind of Funny, for those who don't know, is how Dustin and I met. We're both fans of that show. And then, of course,
Also, congratulations to Greg and Jen, by the way. We're
yeah,
recording this
they're having a
right
baby.
after they announced they're having a baby.
Fantastic. The other thing I wanted to ask about was: have you browsed anyone else's photo collections so far?
I just looked a little bit while we were talking about that through, and there were some pretty cool photos. I might look at them just to get some inspiration for like, oh, that's a cool idea. Maybe I'll get a similar photo to
So
that. Or
that's what I was thinking. Is I'm going to go through and see like, okay, now they did something to get this pose, so that means
yeah,
there's something I
yep.
haven't tried yet, and I'll go back and retry those things.
Yeah, there's things too like I'm slowly trying to figure out as well. Even like just to get the requests completed. Like for example, there's the one it's like, oh yeah, there's a sleeping Arbok in this tree. Maybe there's a way to get it out of the tree, and I'm like, okay, now I have to figure that out. So like I have to go back and do like replay levels to try to get those photos.
I decided I wasn't going to focus on doing the requests until after I had gone through and done all the routes because
I started doing the requests, and then I was like, oh yeah, we have a podcast. I should probably play through as many levels as I can.
and that was my thinking is like, okay, I need to unlock as many things as I can so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's all the stuff on the gameplay. So now some just like fun questions. What's the
Yeah.
favorite Pokemon you've seen so far that is not like a major spoiler?
Well, there's no Scyther so far for me, so that's a bummer. Let's see.
I saw a Pokemon that immediately made me think of you
Hmm.
in the volcano level.
I have not gotten to the volcano level yet, but I'm excited
You've
for that
definitely
level.
unlocked the volcano level, right?
So I have the desert, night and day, or yeah, day and night, and that's it so far on that area. Because
Oh,
I
okay.
went,
So
I
yeah,
went
you haven't
the
scanned the thing that you have to scan to unlock the volcano level.
no, not yet. So I went the ocean route first. So I have the reef, or like the beach, the reef, and then the underwater, and then I went to the
Well,
desert.
when you do the volcano level, you're going to see this Pokemon and be like, "That's the one that Jeff saw and immediately thought of me." Guaranteed.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite so far?
So far, let's see. What is my favorite Pokemon so far that I have taken a photo of in the game? I have to think about like of these Pokemon, what's my favorite Pokemon? I really like getting the pictures with the like any of the Score Bunny sleeping on Torterra. I like
That
those.
was a good one.
I was a big fan of also just like the Sylveon being there. I thought that was cool. And then like in the grass, there's like a part where you go through the garden, and if you like throw one of the Illumina orbs or whatever, there's actually a Sylveon like hiding in the grass. I was like, oh,
See,
that's
yeah, I
cool.
haven't seen that yet.
Yeah,
So that's now I know I need to go back and do that route one more time.
because it blends into the flowers because there's
Yeah.
a bunch of pink flowers, and I didn't even know. I just threw it and it hit it, or I scanned and then it said there was a Sylveon or something like that.
So that's pretty cool. I would say my favorite Pokemon that I've taken a picture of so far was Tyrantrum, which I mean, that's I think is in the level that you haven't done yet. So
Yeah.
But I'm not counting that as a spoiler because you're not going to be able to miss him.
Yeah. Also, I just got, like I said right before this too, I finally found Squirtle, and I was really stoked about that.
Yeah, so that's my favorite that I've seen so far was Tyrantrum. But I think uh, my favorite moment in this game so far, and I don't know what triggered it, so otherwise I would tell you. On one of the early maps, came across, I saw a Heracross. I was like, oh, this was at nighttime. I was like, oh, Heracross. I haven't taken a picture of that yet. Boom, snap a picture. And then I see just off to the side, Pinsir. Oh man, quick, snap a picture. And then I'm like, oh my god, that's right. Heracross and Pinsir hate each other. These Pokemon are 100% about to fight. And
Bitter
sure enough,
rivals.
they did. And then it's like there's this cool fight. And I got all sorts of great photos, that I snapped. Well, I thought they were cool photos of the fight. And I don't know what triggered it because the next
I
time I
need
did
to.
the nighttime route on that, it didn't happen.
So I got a thing, like a request or a thing saying something about another Pokemon showing up in the night level, and I'm pretty sure it's the Heracross thing. So I think you get a request for it because I
Yeah,
haven't
but
gone
then why
back.
wasn't it? Why didn't it happen again when I
I
retried
don't
the
know.
same
I
level?
haven't I haven't gone back yet to do it, and I'm wondering if it's like a one-time thing or if it's like every once in a while it happens.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Heracross yet. Like I
So
went through that level a bunch trying to find it.
Harry shouts out that when you replay a level, the Pokemon are sometimes slightly different. So like each time you
Yep.
play it, the Pokemon might be in a slightly different location, or there may
Or
even be
different
just a
Pokemon
few
altogether.
different
Yeah.
Pokemon altogether, which is pretty cool.
Like like I said, that Squirtle, I'd played through that level a few times, and then this most recent time, there was a Squirtle there. So I thought that was super cool. I really like that. I like the way that the levels change.
Have you had any challenges like that you had to solve like sort of a puzzle to get a Pokemon to do something that you thought was pretty cool?
Let's see. Nothing so far as cool as like evolving the Magikarp into Gyarados or evolving Slowpoke into Slowbro for me yet.
Like in the original?
Yeah, like in the
Have you
original,
have you evolved any Pokemon yet?
no.
Yeah, me
But I
either.
do like the one that you were talking about earlier with the Pinsir, where you have to get the Pinsir out of the ground. I thought that was granted the window to get the photo sucks, but that was pretty cool to like have to get the Pinsir out of the ground because that was one where I was like, what is it telling me to do here? Like, what do I need to do? And then you can get a
I
Pinsir to
don't
come
know
out.
if it was like exactly a puzzle, but I saw on one run through like the foggy forest level, there's a deerling that you can't really like it's hiding from you. But if you hit the crystal bloom with an Illumina orb, the deerling will come to that flower, right? But not really
Okay.
close enough that you can get a good photo of it. You're still pretty far away. As you continue traveling, there's another crystal bloom. And if you hit that one, now the deerling comes around to that one. And there's like three of these. And by the time you get it to the third one, it's close enough that you can get a better photo
Okay.
on. So I was like, okay, so that's some of the cool stuff that
Yeah.
they're doing in this. That it is possible just because you see a Pokemon really far away, there's probably a way to get it closer to you,
Yeah.
and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's a couple cool ones. Like I don't know if I would say really any of them are like my favorite or anything like that yet. But like even the one where the hoodoo where it's like, oh, like you very rarely see both of its feet. So if you like hit it with the fluff fruit, it like
it
moves a little
stumbles,
bit so its
yeah,
foot is out, and you can take a photo so you get the other foot in there as well too. And I thought that was cool.
which I think is cool because I've never been entirely positive that Hoot Hoot had 2 feet.
Right? Harry in the live chat says he doesn't think that you can evolve any of the Pokemon in this game. Which, if
So
that's true, that is kind of a bummer.
yeah, I wasn't sure if maybe that was something that they say for the higher research levels that you can finally do something that will cause them to evolve, uh, or not.
I just want a Gyarados to pop out of the waterfall.
I think that there's a way in the whirlpool on the coral reef level
Yes, I've been like throwing stuff in there, like
because I've noticed each time you throw a fluff fruit into the middle of the whirlpool, Magikarp jumps out higher than it
yeah.
did the previous time. So I'm wondering if maybe there's like if I get enough in there, Magikarp finally just evolves. I don't know. Oh, Harry has shared something in chat. Uh, no Pokemon Snap, no evolutions is from comicbook.com. Take it with a grain of salt because it is comicbook.com. But well, this does bring me to the last question I had on it. Do you have any dislikes? Boom. No
This is
evolutions is a dislike.
this would be it so far. Because like yeah, I like the evolving into Charizard and stuff like that was really cool. But we'll see. I mean, if we don't have the evolutions, I'm not. It doesn't ruin my enjoyment of the game. It's just it is one thing that would be kind of a
I don't know if it would ruin it, but
down.
it would be something that I would be like, come on, guys, that was in the first game.
Yeah.
When
Dislikes.
we were thinking about the puzzles that we remember from the first game, the first two that came to Dustin's mind were evolutions.
Yep. Yep. Evolving Slowpoke into Slowbro, and then evolving Magikarp into Gyarados are the
And
two
I
that
always
would
think
always
of
stick
the
out.
evolving the Charmeleon into Charizard.
That one's good too. Um,
So
in terms of things that I dislike in this game, I do have some things that are like rather annoying. I think I touched on most of those though, like trying to get a picture of a Pokemon and then it not scanning that Pokemon, so it takes a picture of something else is
yeah,
really kind of annoying. It hasn't been egregious yet, but sometimes the load times will suck. But that also has to do with the Switch's hardware. Like,
yeah. There's nothing the game can do about that.
there's nothing the game can do. Um, no, not really. Maybe like it not really telling you that you can go into the settings to adjust. Like, it's not more obvious that you can go adjust the camera speed to make it easier to get photos. They just not giving you like I didn't know that you could hit left or right on the D-pad to
Yeah,
turn
I
the
mean that was
camera
just an
fast.
accidental thing I
Yeah.
noticed, but I'm glad I did.
Maybe
Uh,
more helpful hints. Maybe those were in hints in the loading screen, and I just didn't
and
read
we
it.
just weren't paying attention to it because, of course, your mind wanders as soon as the loading screen hits.
So
Uh,
you pick your phone up usually.
the only other thing that I would say is a little frustrating is things that used to trigger things in the original game. Like if you wanted a Pokemon to look at you that wasn't looking at you, you just had to hit it with something and it would turn and
Yeah,
look at you.
yeah,
That's not the case every time in new Pokemon Snap. I've
yeah,
hit the same Pokemon in the head with 10 fluff fruits in a row and it does nothing.
yeah,
So, I'd like a little more consistency in that regard on, what causes Pokemon to turn around and look at you. But it does add a few more options in terms of puzzles. Like, okay, this didn't make them look at me. Maybe I need to play music. That didn't work. Maybe I need to activate a Crystal Bloom first. There's all sorts of things. So I think that it's a minor frustration now, but it will lead to me being more satisfied when I do solve those puzzles.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And if I like, I'm obviously not going to score this game or anything like that today, but those eights, like it sitting at an 80, makes a lot of sense to me. Is kind of how I feel as well too. Like it's very good. As a Pokemon fan, I'm absolutely loving it. I would say it's a great game. In my opinion, it's worth the $60, but I also am a host of a Pokemon podcast, so take that however you want to take that.
and that would be my agreement there. It's worth the money to me. Like we've already said, we've already gotten more out of it than the original game, and it's better gameplay all around. Uh, Everything that you liked about the original Pokemon Snap has been improved in some way, except for apparently evolutions.
Yeah, and that's a another thing to take with a grain of salt too is that Jeff and I both played the original, so we have the nostalgia for it. So I don't know. I honestly can't say if you would like this game if you didn't play the
I
original.
do think I
I
do.
think it does well
Go ahead.
enough on its own to make it a good game, but I don't know if you're gonna be or have as much joy playing it.
What I think is interesting is I think this game, because it's so different from a mainline Pokemon game, this is a unique opportunity for people who aren't interested in Pokemon to play a game that really you're taking pictures of Pokemon, but it really doesn't have that much to do with Pokemon itself. So
Yeah.
if you know nothing about Pokemon, but you think, "Oh, the monsters look cool, maybe I should check it out." I think this game's a good opportunity for that because,
Yeah.
you
You
know,
don't have to know that fire is weak against water.
right.
You don't need to know any of that stuff.
I mean, for some of the puzzles, it might be helpful, but I think that the game so far does a pretty good job of kind of hinting at how you should solve puzzles
Yep.
uh, with the items that they give you, and I think you'd be able to figure it out whether or not type effectiveness at all. So, based on our first impressions, it sounds like we're both recommending new Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. I think if you like Pokemon at all, which hopefully you do because you're 13 episodes into this podcast, and boy howdy. Um, if you like Pokemon at all, I think it's an easy sell for me. I've heard a lot of like not a lot of reviews, but I've heard people say that they don't think it's worth the $60 even though they like the game. I disagree. I think that it takes a lot of time to make these games, and $60 in the grand scheme of things may sound like a lot of money, but it's really not when you're thinking about what you're getting for that cost, and there's a lot of love and care put into this game.
I completely agree. I so far I think it's totally worth it.
Yeah, I'm not upset that I spent $60, but again, I am a diehard Pokemon fan
Right,
doing a
same.
Pokemon podcast,
So
and a
at the very
Pikachu
least,
t-shirt.
take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
2 diehard Pokemon fans really enjoy this Pokemon game.
yeah, shocker.
So that is it for our first impressions on new Pokemon Snap. So now we're going to move into our final segment of the show, which of course you are all familiar with. It is Rate That Pokemon.
Theme
And
song pending.
Dustin and I are super stoked about the Pokemon that came up with the random number generator
Do we
this
even
week.
need to do this today?
Sorry?
Do we even need to do this today? Like,
No,
I mean, we know
we should talk
it's
about
gonna
it.
happen.
We should talk about it, especially since I haven't even shown the audience yet. Oops, hang on one second.
Harry, it's Buizel. I'm just kidding.
So today's Pokemon is Pokemon number 7, Squirtle.
What a perfect Pokemon.
Right?
Just like I'm a fire boy. Like, obviously I've made it very clear that I prefer the fire starters, but God, Squirtle is perfect.
I mean, Squirtle is my original starter.
Yeah.
You'd be hard pressed to convince me there's anything wrong with this Pokemon.
Yeah. Like, design wise, especially Squirtle Squad version of Squirtle, Blastoise is amazing. Wartortle is great. Like, I don't have any issues at all with Squirtle. The evolutionary line is so good. The moves Squirtle can learn are so good, and the anime Squirtle was great. Like I said, Squirtle Squad, just so good. Just overall, such a good Pokemon.
So all the things we usually talk about, design of the individual Pokemon. Squirtle is, in addition to being like it shoots water, so squirt makes sense. Turtle, the tull, but also it has sort of a curly-Q tail,
like a squirrel tail,
like a squirrel. It's a squirrel turtle.
Yep.
Friggin' perfect.
Yeah, and it can it obviously hides inside of its shell as well too, which is really cool. Bubble is an adorable move when it uses it. Squirtle was my first Pokemon card. Like, that was the first Pokemon card I was ever given, was a Squirtle, and I absolutely without a doubt, in my opinion, Squirtle is a 5 out of 5 and is the number one. Like, I can't think of any reason not to give it a
my brother score. In the chat does say, an issue with Blastoise, where did the cannons come from?
Evolution.
It's evolution, baby. Yeah. Someday humans will evolve to have giant guns on their backs.
Exactly. I was trying to find the shiny sprite, and it's got a green shell.
Green shell. It's not
like
it's not a super in your face shiny. It's not obnoxious. Sometimes you see that the shinies have really bizarre color choices. But I like the shiny Squirtle. I really love in Pokemon Go, they did a day where they had Squirtle Squad. Like the community day was Squirtle Squad, right? You could get the Squirtle with the glasses, and they even had shiny sprite version of Squirtle with glasses.
That's so good.
So now I have Pokemon Go, one of each shiny Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise, all with glasses.
And even in Detective Pikachu, like, the Squirtle looks good in that as well too. Really cute. Like, just such a great Pokemon.
And in the show, I was complaining about the Pokemon saying their names. I have no complaints about the way Squirtle talks.
Nope.
You got that gravelly voice, Squirtle. So cool.
Yeah, it's perfect. I actually prefer the way he says his name in the show than I do in the movie, than in Detective Pikachu.
I mean, yeah, it's so good. So I guess I should read the rankings, so that people are aware. I'm just reading the top 10. At number 10, we have Salandit with 2.5. Qfant is at number 9, 2.5. 8, Delibird, 3. 7, Hariyama, 3.5. 6, Duat 3.5, 5, Rookie D 3.5, 4, Shieldon 3.5. Number 3 is Rockruff with a 4. Number 2, Floatzel at a 4. And our current number 1, Surfetched with a 4-star rating. Now, when we selected Surfetched, I think we were both pretty confident that Surfetched was going to be near the top for a while, just based on how the random number generator was working. But then RNG went and gave us a good one, you know?
Thank you, RNGesus, today.
Thank you, RNGesus.
Because yeah, I mean, there is no reality where Squirtle is not number 1 now.
Completely agree. Now, the question is, what's the rating? For me, it's 5 out of 5.
It's a 5. Like,
okay.
Squirtle is so good. And this is one that I foresee. The only, like, there's going to be a few Pokemon that can compete with Squirtle for me and, like, knocking Squirtle down even a little bit. But with the way the numbers have been going, I see Squirtle being number 1 for a while.
For a while. I'm anticipating.
Unless we somehow get Charmander next week, then we have a debate. But for me, Squirtle's going to be number 1 for a while.
You know, we've talked about it before. My favorite Pokemon of all time is Arcanine, but my favorite starter Pokemon of all time, Final Evolution, is Blastoise.
Yeah, Blastoise is a really good Pokemon.
So, I mean, even Squirtle's going to be hard-pressed to get beat, even among other starters, even like ones that I admittedly do really like Charmander. Yeah.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
But we don't have to cross it right now.
Exactly.
Right now, Squirtle, number 1 in your hearts and number 1 on the list.
Yep. Everybody knew that this was coming. As soon as we said Squirtle, they were like, oh yeah, number 1.
But it's deserved. That's the important thing. It's deserved.
We weren't going to upset people today.
So, with that, we have our new number 1 Pokemon. Dustin, you got anything you want to promote for people in the coming week?
Yeah, let's see. I was going to try, maybe I still will. I've been playing through Resident Evil 2 leading up to Resident Evil Village. I was going to try to play through more Resident Evils, but time is not on my side when it comes to things like that. So I might try to sneak in a little bit more of that tomorrow. I am recording a podcast tomorrow. It doesn't go live for a little while, but I'm finishing up the Lord of the Rings watch through I've been doing with Christian and Griffin. That's been an absolute blast. Go follow Large Popcorn as well too. Christian is a great host, great podcast. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any more Pokemon card openings anytime soon. I do have some that are here over on my Twitch, DDanger10. But I think really it would just be our Twitch or our Twitter account, which is the Pod-ket Monsters, just so you can follow along what we're going to be doing, the schedule that's going up, everything like that. Yeah, that's it for me.
So as far as things I got going on, I don't bring it up often. I don't know why, but I should. The other podcast I co-host is Remember the Film. That's a weekly podcast about movies, and sometimes there are more recent movies, but a lot of times we're talking about classic movies that you should remember, and that's kind of the premise of the podcast. So check that out on YouTube or on any podcast service. You know, whatever podcast service you're listening to Pod-ket Monsters on, go ahead and look up Remember the Film as well. I'd appreciate that. And then in addition to that, I'm again always streaming here on Good Game Grizz on Twitch. So feel free to follow and subscribe on there. I'd really appreciate that. We don't know what our topic for next week is going to be here on Pod-ket Monsters, but we do know. Oh, we do. That's right. We do know. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yes. Next weekend, we will be recording our episode, and we're going to do a review of Detective Pikachu. I know that we said we were going to review the animated films in order, but Detective Pikachu celebrates its 2-year anniversary next week. I think it's either technically Sunday or Monday, but we're just going to record it that weekend, so we're going to watch through that. We'll do another in review episode of that. I don't know. We haven't really discussed if we're going to like pit that against Pokemon the first movie to decide which one was better or anything like that. But I just thought it'd be fun to do a review of that and just get to share our thoughts on Detective Pikachu.
Especially with it being the first and only live action Pokemon movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, maybe we'll talk a little bit about predictions or hopes for a sequel, stuff like that as well, too. So, yeah, I thought that would be fun. to do that episode. So tune into that next week, same time.
Same channel.
Yep, same time, same channel.
All right, so that's going to do it for this week on Pod-ket Monsters. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. All that stuff. We love you. Come back and join us again. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.